Despite many claims stating that Barcelona did not have the transfer funds available to make big-name acquisitions in the transfer window, they are fast becoming the silent assassins of the transfer window so far. 4 main signings combining for an average age of 22, spending around £75 million at the moment. It may rise depending on clauses being added to players like Gomes. But at the moment, it seems like Barcelona are doing pretty goddamn well in the transfer window, if I don't mind saying so myself. When you see teams like Liverpool, as I continuously make this comparison, and yes, I will continue to do it until I'm blue in the face, spending around 92 million on Southampton players, just splashing the cash on a former relegation midfielder, let's say that to say the least, Wijnaldum. This is a breath of fresh air. This is a reminder that you can go out and do efficient business and you don't have to splash a ridiculous amount of money on certain players if they're not worth it. You can invest on young international talent for a reasonable price. Now, I'm going to break down the 4 main signings and why I think Barcelona are doing great business at the moment and why no one should be blinded by the fact that they haven't splashed 100 million, 80 million on the big name signings that they have done before for Luis Suarez or that Paul Pogba seems to be going by, because they understand that they have a great blueprint. Yes, they fell short in the Champions League, but don't let that mask the real reason that they won Copa del Rey and La Liga comfortably last season. And therefore, yeah, there was a little upset in there with Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid pushing them, but they did still win it comfortably. Nonetheless, they're adding efficient pieces to the puzzle. Young pieces that can come to fruition in the future. If not, they come already into the starting lineup. And I am so impressed already by Barcelona. So, starting their signings is Lucas Digne at 16.5 million. Titi, the already proven French international, if anything is to go by in the Euro 2016. He looked impressive in there. Gomes, Euro 2016 winner for Portugal, playing in the midfield. That fee is set to rise to around 46 million, depending on the clauses. And then rounding things up, my own personal favourite, I think, in the transfer window so far, flying under the radar, former Catalan midfielder bought back from Villarreal, Denis Suarez. So let me start with Denis Suarez. When you look at this Barcelona team and you see someone like Arda Turan being added to the squad, you think, all right, that's just another great talent added to a massive pool of talent already. But my qualm with Arda Turan was, what can he add that isn't already prominent in their starting 11? Yeah, he could come in from a Rakitic and maybe add a goal here and there. But that midfield is so dominant already that when you add someone, for me, I'm thinking Luis Enrique wants to add something that's going to be a little bit different, something that's going to spice things up when you bring him on in the 70th, 75th minute, because we know it's going to take a lot to break into the starting lineup when you have Neymar, Suarez and Messi and that midfield trio that just doesn't seem to be aging anytime soon, Busquets, Iniesta and Rakitic. So when Denis Suarez is bought back from Villarreal, I can see exactly what Luis Enrique is thinking. He's not thinking this is a replacement for Messi or Neymar. He's thinking this is an alternative. He's thinking this is someone that adds something a little bit different. Denis Suarez is fantastic from wide areas. Yes, he is efficient cutting in as well, which we know Neymar can provide week in, week out. But when I watched Denis Suarez last season, specifically in the Europa League, the lad had 9 assists in 14 Europa League games, 13 overall in the season. And most of those assists came from wide areas. He's a traditional wide player who is comfortable moving into central areas. That's something that Barcelona don't necessarily have in abundance. Neymar does start wide, but he likes to come into central areas. He likes to partner and alternate with Suarez and Messi so that they become so fluid in that attacking third. But Denis Suarez will provide a little bit more of a traditional winger in a sense. He's going to hold himself out wide. He's going to hug the touchline, and he's going to be a nuisance for defenders if they're just becoming accustomed to trying to defend against Neymar, Messi and Suarez with the attacking runs of Iniesta and Rakitic. All of a sudden, you bring on a Denis Suarez and you have to alternate your full game plan to try and deal with a winger. Someone who's very talented, who has a great final product, and most importantly, is very young and going to just be sculpted by the Barcelona style of play. So I think that that is a great acquisition. Next up is Gomes. Now, we've seen him in glimpses in the Euro 2016, part of an overall winning team who have a very hard-working central midfield in there. He was part of that box-to-box, closing down space, and overall efficient football. Now, I'm not going to take that as an indication as whether or not he's worth the £46 million price tag that's been attached to him, or whether he's going to be worth it in the end up. But Valencia clearly think he's worth it. That's why they played him relentlessly last season. That's why he was one of their most efficient passers in the league, completing 1,293 passes last season, at which he had an 81.5% pass completion. That is of Barcelona standard. That is what Barcelona look to have. Now, what I just said about Denis Suarez, I'm going to go completely against it when I mention Andre Gomes. I don't think he's going to add anything different to a Rakitic and an Iniesta, and already outlets are running that Rakitic's agent is in uproar at this big signing, and Rakitic has to move elsewhere. Relax. Rakitic was brought in to be the next mould of Xavi, and Andre Gomes is going to be brought in to be the next mould of Iniesta or Rakitic. This is what Barcelona do. So if people are believing those ridiculous headlines, if Rakitic moves elsewhere, I will eat my pocket square, because I think that he's here for the long term, and this new signing is just to come in and evolve with Barcelona, because that's what they're great at doing. They're great at not standing still. They will view last season's, I would say, mismatch in the Champions League up against Atletico Madrid as an indicator for what they have to add. They need someone in the midfield who can be brought in to maybe nullify their opponent's immediate strengths, maybe close down a Sal Niguez and match him for athleticism and work rate. And that's what someone like Andre Gomes is going to come in to do. He's going to be a great acquisition in those moments of the game where you need hard work. And I think Luis Enrique has taken last season's failures against Atletico Madrid and added in Andre Gomes to maybe come in at moments of the game where you need a little bit higher tempo. You need someone to push the game a little bit further. You need someone to match Atletico Madrid's tenacity. And then we're working our way back to the young athletic defenders that he's brought in. Umtiti already shown that he has the composure to play at the highest level. The guy just played at the young age of 21, just played in a Euro 2016 final. It's clear that he is ready for the big time. He's not going to go in and start straight away. I still imagine that Mascherano and Piqué will be the go-to centre-backs, but it's this grooming process that Luis Enrique is well aware of, that Guardiola was well aware of, that Frank Rijkaard had in his mind as well. The grooming process that is so prominent in this Barcelona startup, even from producing players from the training academy, the Lionel Messis of the world, to bringing in young talent so that they can be brought along with the experience that is already prominent in this team. Same thing goes with Digne in the fullback position. So as much as Barcelona are not caught up in the chase for the Paul Pogbas of the world, I wouldn't panic if I was a Barcelona fan. I'd actually see this as a very comfortable and efficient transfer window so far. And they're not done yet. According to rumours, Vieto from Atletico Madrid is well on Luis Enrique's radar. Luis Suarez has already endorsed that signing, saying he is welcome at Barcelona. He's a big fan of his. So you never know. But at the moment, Barcelona, from being a club that it was deemed to be in financial crisis and may have to offload Neymar and all these big name signings to try and make up some of the money that they seem to have lost, seems that they're doing pretty well in my standing. So watch out for them next season. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, hit me up on Twitter, Francis_Maxwell, and stay tuned for more on TYT Sports.